Trump's disaster attempt at distraction from Epstein as he fails another dementia test? Donald Trump's latest media blitz is being framed by critics as a desperate and unraveling attempt to change the subject, and this time the timing is impossible to ignore. As renewed scrutiny swirls around his past connections to Jeffrey Epstein and uncomfortable questions resurface, Trump has launched what many are calling a chaotic distraction campaign, one that is backfiring spectacularly and raising fresh concerns about his mental sharpness and grip on reality. Instead of shifting the narrative, the move appears to be amplifying doubts, deepening suspicion, and exposing a political figure who looks increasingly overwhelmed by the weight of his own history. The Epstein shadow has returned with force, dragging with it a trail of old photos, past comments, and documented associations that Trump would rather keep buried. While he has repeatedly tried to distance himself from Epstein, the renewed focus has reignited public outrage and curiosity. Critics argue that Trump's response has not been calm denial or transparent explanation, but a frantic flood of unrelated controversies, inflammatory statements, and headline-grabbing behavior designed to pull attention elsewhere. The result has been the opposite of what he likely intended. Rather than diluting the Epstein narrative, his actions have fused it with new concerns about his cognitive state. In recent appearances and statements, Trump has shown signs of confusion that even longtime observers find difficult to dismiss. Rambling answers, abrupt topic changes, and factual misstatements have fueled speculation that he is struggling to stay focused under pressure. Opponents have seized on these moments, suggesting that Trump is effectively failing an informal dementia test in the court of public opinion. While no official diagnosis exists, the pattern has become a talking point, especially when contrasted with his repeated insistence that he alone possesses unmatched mental acuity. What makes this episode particularly damaging is the perception that Trump's distraction tactics are transparent. The louder he shouts about unrelated enemies and imagined conspiracies, the more critics argue that he is signaling fear. The Epstein issue, unlike many past scandals, carries a uniquely toxic stigma. Any association, however tangential, triggers visceral reactions. Trump's apparent refusal to address the matter directly, combined with his escalating theatrics, has led many to conclude that he is not controlling the narrative, but being controlled by it. Inside political circles, there is growing chatter that Trump's inner world is shrinking as pressure mounts. Advisors and allies who once helped him pivot away from damaging stories now seem unable to rein him in. Instead of a coordinated strategy, what the public is seeing looks improvised and erratic. One day brings sweeping accusations against political rivals, the next a bizarre tangent or self-congratulatory rant that collapses under basic fact-checking. Far from projecting strength, the spectacle reinforces the impression of a leader flailing as multiple crises converge. The dementia speculation, while controversial, has gained traction precisely because Trump continues to invite comparison. He frequently mocks opponents' mental fitness, challenges them to cognitive tests, and boasts about his own supposed genius. When his own performances fall short of that image, the contrast is jarring. Critics argue that his fixation on proving mental dominance betrays insecurity, and that his public missteps only magnify the very doubts he claims are ridiculous. Meanwhile, the Epstein narrative refuses to fade. Each new distraction attempt seems to loop back to it, as journalists and commentators point out the obvious timing. The story has become less about isolated facts and more about trust, judgment, and character. For voters already wary of Trump's behavior, the combination of moral controversy and apparent cognitive strain is deeply unsettling. For undecided observers, it raises a fundamental question about fitness for leadership in moments of crisis. Trump's supporters dismiss these concerns as politically motivated attacks, insisting that his energy and aggression are proof of vitality. Yet even within his base, there are murmurs of unease. Some privately acknowledge that his recent performances feel different, more scattered, more defensive. The bravado remains, but the coherence sometimes does not. That subtle shift may prove more damaging than any single headline because it chips away at the image of control that has always been central to Trump's appeal. In the end, Trump's attempted distraction is shaping up to be a disaster of his own making. By trying to outrun the Epstein story with noise and outrage, he has only entangled himself further. By boasting about his mental prowess while delivering uneven performances, he has opened the door to uncomfortable speculation. The narrative now forming is not one of dominance or defiance, but of a man struggling to juggle scandal, scrutiny, and self-image all at once. What was meant to be a diversion has become a spotlight. The more Trump lashes out, the more attention returns to the very issues he seems desperate to escape. Epstein, credibility, mental fitness, and accountability are now woven together into a single, corrosive storyline. And as this latest episode shows, Trump's usual playbook of distraction and chaos may no longer be enough to save him from the consequences of his past and the questions of his present.